Hello, welcome to Coffee Conversations, episode 4. I am coming to you from my living room in St. Louis, and we've got a special guest on tonight, Joe Mancuso. Let's welcome you, Joe. Hey, how's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Doing fine. Welcome. Thank you for being here tonight.
Yeah, man. This is my first real Zoom. I can't see you just yet because I lost the window here, but
that's okay.
We could just pretend for a second until I find it. Oh, there it is. I think. There she blows. I got it. Okay.
Technology. We've got it figured out, I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's going on with you?
Oh, not much. Just keeping very busy while we're in lockdown here. I've got recently built a home studio, so now I find myself producing music around the clock when I'm not working my day job, which is internet marketing for some clients. And then I'm really missing the live performance. I got to do a private gig Saturday, and we practiced social distancing and all that.
Oh, nice.
It was fun. And I'm producing a record for my daughter's band. I'm writing some new music. Getting ready to do a record with Dave Black here real soon, and also with Willem van Humbracht, a couple of jazz records. And then my music is more like, I don't know, pop, adult contemporary, indie rock-ish. Not really jazz, although I am writing some jazz tunes.
You are. So will there be jazz on this particular album, or is that just a separate project?
I think I'm going to do, believe it or not, an instrumental project of just jazz tunes that I've written, and hire some of the local guys to play that. And then I'm going to come behind it and add lyrics to my own instrumentals. And so be able to stretch 2 albums out of, the same music.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So what's your home studio setup like?
Right now I have what's called a Focusrite Claret 8 Pre-X. I just had 8 individual inputs. I'm going to be adding 8 more, so I'll have 16 so I can record drums here. I can do drums now. It's just I recording rock drums, I like to have about 12 channels for what I want to do with them. But as far as this album with Crystal Lady, I recorded the drums at a buddy of mine, his studio, Dave Toretta. And I have, some decent mics, some condenser mics. I've got mics by Warm Audio. They're kind of like clones of very expensive mics, but a little cheaper. And
nice.
I do.
I think we've got some of those at the studio too, so I'm sure they're decent.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, they really
didn't you own or run a studio before?
Yeah.
So you got some experience with engineering?
Quite a bit, actually. Yeah. I actually had my own studio from 91 to 96. It was called Audio Arts Recording, and I was on Hampton Avenue. And I did a lot of local bands demos, and then I got heavily into radio production and moved to the West Coast and worked in Portland, Oregon for 2 years in a studio there. But before that, I worked at Clayton Studios while I was going to Webster University from 86 to 90, and also for a year before I started my own place after I graduated.
Cool.
So, but the digital recording is kind of new to me, digital multi-tracking anyway, because back then I was still, we were rolling with tape.
Yeah.
and it's taken me about a good 6 months to get used to just wrapping my head around everything with latency but it's just mind-blowing how much more you can do because of it being nonlinear and with all these plugins that simulate amplifiers and microphones, and just it's crazy. It's the automation. You can automate every tiny little move. So I find myself mixing things, maybe over mixing them because there's so much I can do now.
Yeah.
But it's fun. Yeah.
That's really cool. So you're going to be are you recording your own stuff then with your home studio, or is that just getting set up for Crystal Lady?
Mainly, I got it set up for Crystal Lady because they write so much new music. I figured I'd rather spend the money on equipment because I have the know-how. I just had to get used to the new equipment. I understand all the concepts, and rather than spending a lot of money on studio time, I'd rather spend more time in the studio and use money for promotion. So that's what I'm now also working on is learning how to apply my internet marketing background to music marketing. And so I'm studying some courses and taking what I've learned and adapting it towards music, which is a little different because a lot of the stuff that I do is more B2B. Most of my clients are bigger companies that are providing goods or services to other companies, so it's not really B2C. Where the music is quite different, but a lot of the fundamental strategies are the same.
Well, you've always done really well, in my opinion, with marketing yourself, as far as like on an online basis. I've always thought that was one of your strong suits. So you've got a good foundation going already. But I would be interested to see what you find out works like moving forward, since you said you're learning some new stuff.
Mhm.
Because all of that stuff is like really important if you're trying to
Yeah.
obviously do something with your music.
Yeah, and there's so many people out there that are selling marketing to musicians, and I'm somewhat skeptical of some of them. And
I would be too.
I've bought into a couple of them, and they really showed me a whole bunch of stuff I already know.
Mhm.
But then I did learn some things. But I've also found some really good free resources for information, and then I found some really good ones that are not too expensive, and you could pay like a monthly fee. One of them was like $37 a month, and you can, use it as long as you want and quit whenever you want, versus forking out a couple grand for someone's secret recipe and you find out
Sure.
it's just a bunch of fluff.
Yeah, there's a lot of that circling around. They target you, but
Yeah.
I don't think you need any of that. But no,
But
that sounds like a
yeah,
good game plan for sure. Focusing on promotion and things like that.
yeah. I mean, there's so many great musicians even here locally in St. Louis, and I think the difference between being very successful and not, if you have the talent that a major star has, is basically money. I mean, it takes money to put you in front of all of those eyeballs and for people to hear you, all the ears, and just to get the saturation in the market, the exposure. And you got to get on the road and you got to travel.
Mhm.
And I think if there's the difference is some of these people get scooped up and they throw a lot of money behind them and they put them into their machine, and that's what the record companies do. But I think nowadays, because of the time that we live in, the internet and social media, that you could do it yourself, but it's not easy. It's still a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work and it's time consuming, and
Yeah,
you need to have a basic understanding of what to do. Plus, it's complicated because it's ever changing.
right. It's a moving target. Yep.
Yeah, it's just a lot. It is a lot of work. I will admit, but it's doable.
I kind of wish I would have started about 10 years ago when people were still selling CDs and downloads were, still occurring. Now it's just all about streaming
Yeah.
and touring and making money from your YouTube channel and from your Patreon and from um, influencers and sponsors, until you get to the point where you've grown an audience where you can sell tickets and then sell merch, and
Right.
so there's a musician who wants to really make a living at it has to be a marketer, or they have to have somebody doing that for them, or they've got to have money behind them in marketing, or you just stay local and play local and have a good time. But if you want to make it to the next level, it's about marketing. And you got to have a product. You got to have a good product. But there are people that their product is suspect, but they're still very successful because they have a huge machine behind them.
Right. They're doing
Yeah.
all of the right things, and it just works out for some of them.
yeah.
Well, cool. So more about you. You said you've been recording some songs. I know I saw you post, you wrote a song for your wife. That
Yep.
was, is that the most recent thing you did?
No, I've been writing some instrumentals. Those are the most recent. I'm also kind of working on a secret project that I can't really talk
Okay.
about.
Sounds intriguing. Secret.
And I've been spending a lot of time on that.
What makes it secret?
I really shouldn't talk about it, but it's
Well, I have so many things like formulating in my mind. Working for the CIA.
No, it's music. Let's just say it's comedy music.
Comedy. Okay. Like Weird Al?
Kinda, yeah.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, and if it does well, then I'll release the. I'll talk more about it, but I don't want to jeopardize what I'm doing now as far as a local, jazz performer. Or, I don't know.
Totally makes sense.
I can't talk. Yeah.
No, I get it. Yeah. Because you are a jazz vocalist at heart.
Right. So we'll see.
So speaking of that, do you have any gigs on the horizon?
I've got things that I haven't announced yet because I've been kind of wondering if they're going to happen. But the Willie Aikens Jazz Festival, I haven't really announced it, but that's going to be August 23rd. If we're still having concerts. I got to talk to the Kranzberg and make sure that's still on because I don't know because
that's at the dark room, right?
It's at the Grandel. Yeah,
okay.
The dark room, and it'll spill out into the dark room after the show and before the show. I've got a show in July. I think it's July 7th at the West End Theater with Steve Schenkel, who was a guitar. He was my very first advisor at Webster University. He was head of the jazz department before Paul DeMarinis at Webster. He's a guitar player, a great player, and I'm doing a show with him and Kevin Giannino and Rick Weiss. Straight ahead jazz. I've got a show with Tracer. That's also in July, near the end of July. I think it's July 24th or something. And that's Pete Tal Williams, Daryl Mixon, Gary Sykes, and also with Erica Johnson.
Very cool.
I have some private gigs. And I just kind of have put the brakes on booking and just have been busy recording. And then one of my favorite gigs is every other Wednesday at excuse me.
Scarlett's?
Scarlett's, yeah. I heard a low end rumbling.
That's my dog. Did you think it was you?
It could have been. That was not me. That was the dog. So yeah, Scarlett's. And I share that with my daughter, Kayla, and her trio version of her band, Crystal Lady, every other Wednesday. But I don't know when that's going to start back up. So then I, have some privates, some weddings and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's just a lot of unknown, but it would be interesting to see what happens with the restaurant type gigs. I think, the festivals, I'm sure a lot of those won't be happening, unfortunately. Maybe some of the smaller concerts, just a waiting game.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking restaurants who might have to open up with limited, seating or occupancy. I don't know if they're going to have the money to pay for music because if you can only allow your place to be, 30, 40, 50% occupied, then that, the restaurant's got to survive. And so who knows, maybe when this is all over with, people will just want to get out and there's a boom. I don't know. I have no expectation one way or the other. And we'll just see what happens. But
it's tough to plan forward. And so it's good that you're getting creative at least and making some music, making the most of what you can.
Yeah.
It's really all you can do.
Some of the most enjoyable work years of my life were in a studio, and now I've got one at home. It's just, it's great. I love it. Sometimes I'll spend so much time mixing a tune before I know it. I look and I see the light shining through the back doors here, and I've been going for like 24 hours.
That's crazy.
Mixing the same part over and over.
But when you're inspired, it'll take you.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, why don't we take two? We'll take quick two here, just a quick break. And then we'll come back on. We'll see if anybody has any questions. We'll take a little Q&A.
I'll do a share too. I'm going to go look at my Facebook.
And then we'll do a song.
Cool.
All right, folks. So those of you at home watching, we're going to do a quick pause and we'll be back in 2.
They say that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, so why'd fall all the way to China, a homeless girl living on the streets? Help me, my bottle's getting empty, feeling like I'm losing the game of life. I need some help with my self-regulation. Aberration, it's not working out. Not working out. Not working out. Not working out. Yeah.
All right. So you said you're working on some music with Dave Black?
Yeah, we're going to do another record together. Our first record was called Just the Two of Us, and so it was just a good experience. And we sold quite a few CDs to fans from the bandstand, and so we figured we'd do another one. Might put some originals on that. Maybe a blend of originals and covers. And Willem van Humbrucht, he's a bass player, and he and I used to do just bass and voice. So we thought we'd do one of those records. Might be kind of boring for a lot of people, but it's something I want to do.
No, I don't think that's boring at all. It sounds neat.
It's different, so... And first time I ever did that with him, it was very strange to not hear, harmony or, chords, and to be able to just listen to the bass line and sing the melody. It was kind of tough for, I don't know, maybe the first couple times we did it. And then as I got more confident with it, it became actually kind of fun and challenging, and at the same time, and just a different, experience that made me feel better in a different way. There's nothing like, for me, performing is like therapy. It's, you get those, I guess, those endorphins being released, and it's almost like getting high, and I love it. And it was kind of different. It's like a different blend of endorphins from just doing voice and bass versus having harmony behind you, a harmonic instrument.
You've performed out with him before, just the two of you?
Yeah, we haven't done it in a while. It's probably been a good 3 years since we've done that.
Okay.
It kind of, I want to do it again, but you have to have the right place. You can't really do that at a bar. We did it at this one place called it was in the Central West End. I'll think about it in a minute, but It was a show. So it was a birthday show. Both of our birthdays are in May. I got one coming up. He just had his. I can't think of the place. It was on Belt and over there off of Pershing. Guy from one of the guys who teaches at St. Louis University, I think, and plays in the symphony or has ties to the symphony. He owned it. I can't think of the name of it. Anyway, did a few shows there. Jim Alley and I and Kurt Landis did a show there. It'll come to me. We did one at Mojo Tapas, which was another restaurant that went out of business. So it's kind of more of a laid back, artsy kind of a presentation, and got to have the right venue.
Sure,
it's got to be
absolutely
a show.
Yeah, people have to appreciate it.
Tavern of Fine Arts. That was the name of the place.
Is it? It's not still around, is it?
No, they closed down probably about 3 years ago. Yeah, I think our last bass and voice duo was there at Tavern of Fine Arts, and we packed the place. And I had some really, diehard fans. But we'll do it again.
That'd be cool.
What's your dog doing over there?
She's sleeping.
That's snoring?
She's snoring. It's very loud.
Okay.
I'm tempted to throw my kid's CPAP machine on her. See if that helps.
Your kids have a CPAP?
This just got weird. You didn't know a 3-year-old could have obstructive sleep apnea?
I thought that just happened to old fat guys like me.
Well, his dog's pretty big, but
yeah,
you never know.
My wife says I need one, but I don't.
You snore like myself. The dog?
That's nothing. Yeah, no, I snore. More like a bear.
Well, yeah. All right, why don't we jump into a tune? Are you ready to play something?
Yeah, I guess so. Right before this, as you know, my wife was in a 4-car accident just down the street from our house. And so when I was getting ready to set up and tune my guitar and get ready, she called and I had to rush down to go get her, and she's fine. There was 3 other cars in front of her that had 2 cars had a big smash, and then they rolled into her, and then I rolled into a car in front of her, and then that car hit her.
Goodness.
So,
well, I'm glad she's okay. Everyone else is okay too?
Yeah. Well, there was one lady that caused the accident who did leave in an ambulance, but I think she was fine. But her car was demolished. It was bad, and another car there was 2 cars totaled, and then the car in front of my wife, he got hit in the front, and then he rolled into her, so he got hit front and back. Probably not total, but who knows nowadays with bodywork, they might total a car out.
Right, they just crunch so easily. But yeah, that's a busy intersection.
Yeah. It was Baxter and Clarkson.
Yeah.
So,
I was trying to think. I don't know if I know we're not technically live, we're virtually live, but I don't know if I've seen you play the guitar before.
Well,
so
let's do it.
A treat.
And I don't really consider myself a guitar player. I just use it to write with. But I just use that as an excuse so that if I screw up, I'll say I'm not a guitar player. So here's a song I wrote. I just recently played a song about my wife that I wrote about a year ago. This one I wrote this song right after Nathan Jatko left us, because we were going to be working on some original music together, and he was going to help me with some of the writing. And then I got inspired to write again after not writing for many years by watching my daughter Kayla write with her band. And so this one kind of talks about, I guess a lot of my songs are maybe too deep. This one's about life and things you learn as you get older. And it kind of came to me after, seeing a friend pass away and thinking about life again, you know.
All right.
So
Well,
this
I'm
was-
excited. He was a very talented musician.
yeah, he
What's
was
the song called?
called The Answer.
Okay.
Okay.
Do your thing.
When I was a young boy, I used to look up to the sky, searching for the answers and the reason why. Take me to that special place where all the answers exist. Rescue me from the sea of hopelessness. But now that I'm older, everything's crystal clear. No, I don't have all of the answers. As long as I have you right here. When I was a young man, ambitious with foolish pride, still searching for the answers and feeling empty inside. I was looking in all the wrong places, didn't know I had it all the time. Wasted years and all those wasted tears. When will I be satisfied? But now that I am older, everything's crystal clear. No, I don't need all of the answers. As long as I have you right here. Now that I'm older, everything's crystal clear. No, I don't have all of the answers. As long as I have you right here. Now that I am older, everything's crystal clear. I don't need all of the answers. As long as I have you right. Anyway, that was the answer.
Awesome. That was great. I feel like
Thank
I've
you.
heard that before. Is that possible?
I think I played it out like right after I wrote it at the Tiki Bar. Yeah.
Okay, could have been there.
I played it at the Tiki Bar. I recorded it once and put it up on YouTube one time when I was still kind of working it out. But yeah.
Good tune anyways.
Thank you.
I like it. A little philosophical and it's got some good substance.
Yeah. I need to write some happy songs now. Everything's so damn serious.
Well, that's okay. I'm a very serious person. I like songs like that.
I do too.
It's very poetic. I think there's a lot in the lyrics, and lyrics are very important in how they fit in with the overall mood of the song. So I give you an A+.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for playing that.
Yeah, it's fun. It's kind of weird because I kept hearing your dog snore while I was playing.
Here's a dog.
Is that a she or a he?
It's a she.
A she. What's her name?
Yeah, and while you were playing too, I was hearing the dog snore, and I was thinking, I wonder if we can edit that dog out of here. I'm gonna have to put her outside next time. He's loud.
That's cool. I hear my dog barking outside.
All right, so where can we find your music online?
You can find me on Spotify, Apple Music, all those places.
Just under Joe Mancuso?
Yeah, and I'm learning as I go, and I have basically two artists. One's Joe Mancuso, and that has my first record, which is the jazz record with my 5-piece, jazz group. That was the first one called Cut to the Chase, and then my second record is with Day Black, just the two of us, but we're under a different artist name, which is Mancuso Black, because we thought that would be cool, like Loggins and Messina, but without the end, just Mancuso Black. But then now it's like, if someone, I have to separately cross promote them. If someone Googles or goes to Spotify and they look up Joe Mancuso, they don't see Mancuso Black. So, I don't know. But we're going to put out more Mancuso Black records, and then my name is going to it's not going to be just jazz in the future. Maybe I'll create another group.
Alias?
I don't know.
The new name?
Yeah.
Maybe
I do have one alias.
I've been thinking this whole time about your mohawk.
Actually, I have 3 artists, but one you don't know about.
Are you ignoring the mohawk statement?
Oh,
that's got to be your album cover.
I got rid of it. Yeah, it's going back. So
there you go. Much different than it was. Was it completely bald and then really tall on top? Is that what Kayla did?
I had a for real mohawk. Yeah,
that was a little frightening.
We were bored.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Not that you can't pull it off.
I don't know. That was fun. So so I you can find me on my website mancusojazz.com, and just Facebook, Instagram, but I'm really trying to promote the Spotify, and I think that's what it's all about nowadays, is to get people checking you out on Spotify and Apple Music and following you and getting, active follows and listeners. And I'll be promoting very heavily Crystal Lady's new album. We're producing the second single here. We'll start tracking the bass and guitar as soon as the lockdown is, finished, I guess. What are they saying? May 15th, May 18th? Something,
18th.
I don't know. 18th,
For county and city, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll start tracking again. And I have all the drums recorded for 12 songs.
Oh, wow.
And scratch, bass, vocal, and guitar. And now we're going to go behind the scratch and really lay down the solid parts and start mixing. And I think I'm just going to keep releasing their singles until we have, I don't know, 4 or 5 of them out, and then just go ahead and finish up and do the album. But it seems like a lot of people are just releasing single after single after single. You know, some people say that's the way to go now with how music is consumed.
Yeah,
But
I
you
guess.
got to have an album to sell from the bandstand. And, you know, we
For
could do an
sure.
EP, but we might as well just do the album, do, you know, 10, 11, 12 songs.
Yeah, I like the whole album. I mean, to be quite honest with you, I've not really bought any music online.
Everybody streams.
I don't. I'm vintage. If I want
Well, yeah.
something, I'm going to get the CD, and
Yeah.
that's just me.
You're old,
I know.
Jen. No.
Records are coming back too. What'd you say?
Yeah, I know. I said, but you're old. No,
I am so old, but no, the records. You guys should put it on vinyl, cassette.
Yeah, that's it. I can't even believe that. Cassettes are coming back now, too.
I know, it's wild.
That don't make any sense. But
they're awful.
If people are going to buy them, we'll make some. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
just a marketing thing.
It's kind of cool, but it also is kind of silly because that was like the worst format as far as I'm concerned. It was just the portable format, you know.
Right.
The wow and the flutter and the, you know. When I had a recording studio, I used to do cassette duplication, and I was never happy with, you know, the product. I spent a lot of money on equipment to make, you know, cassette music quality cassette duplication, and it was just always problematic. Medium itself.
Imagine.
I remember also taking them apart and splicing them and putting them back together. People would bring in broken cassettes, and I would fix them for them.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Clayton Studios still does all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty good at that. Someone's got to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think albums are cool. You know, the medium. Anyway, the liner notes, the big thing you can hold on to, and pictures. You know, that was cool.
Yep. Same thing with CDs. The whole you got all the lyrics. I enjoy that aspect of it.
Yeah.
I guess people don't do that anymore. They just have the little paper sleeve for CDs, and you just get the CD and the artwork, and that's it.
Yeah. I like, you know, my first CD I did, what do they call that? Where it's all paper, but it opens up, and I had liner notes in it. I forget what they call that. But it's got the plastic thing glued in there, but there's artwork behind it, and you pop the CD on there, and it's all paper. I forgot what they call it, and then the second CD I went with the old black back with this clear front clamshell or whatever, you know, and had an insert with some liner notes. But I've never done the sleeve. That's just the least expensive way to go. Kind of like a record album that doesn't open, yeah. But there's not enough real estate to put a whole lot of data on there, you know.
No. She's
really snoozing over there.
Yeah. You have me self-conscious about this now.
It's funny. It's part of the.
I've got another. They're both making noise. They're talking. Just do a whole show on that, on the dogs.
So when's the school gonna open back up?
That's a great question. I'm honestly thinking, and I haven't had any official conversations with anybody yet, but probably 1st of June.
Okay, a couple of weeks after.
And there'll have to be a choice. I'll need to make sure the teachers are comfortable, the students are comfortable, and if they're not, we'll continue online. My biggest concern is what I teach primarily, kinder music, because it's toddlers running around and, it's movement and music, and you can't, it's hard enough to get a 2 and 3-year-old to do what you need them to do. And so it's just, and that's part of it, but you can't just have them all sitting in a row 6 feet apart doing nothing and not grabbing other people's instruments and thing.
That's gonna be tough. Yeah.
So that'll be challenging, but as far as the rest goes, hopefully in the next few weeks, people are eager, and I'm eager to resume to normal. But we'll see. I mean, I've read a lot about singing, and that's probably going to be the most difficult, is the voice lessons.
Why is that?
Well, I don't know if you've seen articles being posted about people running, how you need like a 20-foot gap between people because of like the spray effect when you breathe differently. So same thing when you're singing, you're basically projecting out. You've got this like spray effect.
Gotcha.
Especially people that enunciate a lot. I mean, you're just going to organically be spitting.
Yeah.
So you always have to keep like 20 to 30 feet apart if you're truly going to
gotta wear the mask.
Be mindful. I don't know how you could sing with a mask. I think that would be. And I've also heard there's problems with CO2 with breathing and singing wearing the mask. So there's not a good solution. You just basically, I guess, need a huge classroom to make it work if you're really going to follow the CDC guidelines. So we'll see. But she'll be interesting.
Get a bunch of those like hamster bubbles. Put everybody in a bubble.
There you go.
Like the boy in the plastic bubble. Yeah.
What about those inflatable dinosaur costumes?
There you go.
That work? Anyways, well, good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Do this again. Hopefully, I'll see you live somewhere, whether you're performing or someone else is or something.
Cool. Yeah.
I'm definitely missing the music.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. Chat with you soon. Bye, Joe.
All right, peace. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Well, that was Joe Mancuso. Thank you for joining us tonight. Coffee Conversations, episode 4. And as you heard us talk about, we will be posting the audio as a podcast. That'll be going on Spotify, hopefully Apple and Google as well. And then the video portion will be going on YouTube. So be sure to follow us on all of those platforms, also on our social media, Shock City School of Music, and Coffee Conversations as well. And we will be taking off this upcoming Sunday for Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. And then we will be joining you back next Thursday. I've got another super special guest, Jim Manley. He plays trumpet and jazz musician. So I'm excited to check in with Jim Manley next Thursday, 7 o'clock. We will see you back live on Facebook. All right. Thanks for being here, everyone. Bye-bye.